Dr. Sujay, and welcome to Live with Sujay as we celebrate Black women leaders. And it is my delight to be with you. Thank you for sharing your time with us. And please, we hope that you enjoy the show. Today, I am so excited because one of my sister friends from Sag Harbor is here. Saharon Lopez, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I have admired you for so long, but you've been on the other side of the camera too as a producer. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, where to start? Well, I have to shout out my alum,
Yes.
Howard University.
Okay, you have to do HU.
HU, you know.
You know.
And so I went to school communications there,
Mhm.
and I was lucky to get a job at CBS News, the local news down there.
Mhm.
So I've worked in news, I've worked in production, I've been in front of the camera, I've been behind the camera. I spent a good stint when I left Washington, D.C. At Essence Television. That was
Yes.
a great time.
Yes.
I've done a lot of corporate videos, started a video magazine for a big corporation.
Nice.
And
And you've done some PR work as well, public relations.
Some.
Yeah,
Some,
and thank you for helping me. You gave me a couple of gigs along the way. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure anytime.
So how has the business changed from your perspective? I know you're not hands-on in it anymore, but since COVID and since social media entered the picture, what's changed?
Well, I mean, generally, I would say, from my perspective, who is a production person, like editing and all of that is so different now. Like everybody can kind of do it on their own computer. Where
Yes.
I had to go into an edit room and hire an editor, and
Exactly.
do all those things. So that's a big change. And then just in terms of COVID and stuff, I mean, I've been on the event production side
Yes.
most recently. And of course, nobody was going out to events,
Exactly.
but we did do a lot of viral events.
Oh, and
you
that
know.
worked. Oh,
It actually did. It
That's
actually
amazing.
worked very well because people weren't going out. So
Exactly.
they didn't have much else to do besides, turn on the TV. We had performances, we had speeches.
And everyone needs a social life. That's the
Yeah,
great thing.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
wonderful being out here in Sag Harbor because it was like 0.06 cases of COVID, and we could be outside, those of us who had homes.
Mhm.
And I remember meeting on the beach even on New Year's Day and having a champagne toast. But that was wonderful. So life is going to kind of be pre-COVID, post-COVID now.
Absolutely.
Pre-social media, post-social media. So what you're doing events planning now, even for some people out here. You used to do Reggie.
Yeah, well, I still do the Evidence Dance
Okay.
Company event, which
Yes.
is coming back this summer.
Is it really?
It's the Hamptons on Our Toes Summer Soiree.
I love it.
And that's in August. And
Okay.
that's always a great event. It's a daytime event. It's an outdoor performance. We are so grateful and excited that Leslie Odom Jr. from
Yes.
Broadway is going to be our host this year.
I love it. So it's every August though, because this might go next year as well. So every
Yeah.
August we can look for that.
Pretty much. Now, we did it for about 9 years, and then it went away because of COVID and all those things. And so we
Sure.
brought it back last year.
Okay.
We had the amazing Carla Hall as our host.
Oh my
and-
goodness. And
yeah.
people turned out.
Oh my gosh, they really, really did.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So now you're doing events planning even for Susan Taylor sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
I've
one of
done-
our residents.
Yes. I've done, I guess for the past 5 years, since 2019, I've produced the National Cares Mentoring Movement Gala,
Mhm.
which is always exciting.
Yes.
This year, it was just in February, we had Sherry Shepherd as our host.
I saw that.
And she has such a great personality. And then Kenny Lattimore was our
Oh
talent.
my goodness.
And we raised a lot of money.
That's the
Yeah.
key. That's the key
Yeah.
for galas.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be calling you. We need to raise a lot of money, but we do some wonderful things here at LTV. It has just made everything amazingly comfortable and accessible to our communities out here. So we do a thing now every July. We call it Celebration of Black Culture on the East End.
Oh, nice.
And we have our residents share what they do. And so we're here today to have you share what you do. But we were talking before the show about seasons of life. And one of the seasons you're excited about is your grandma now.
Oh my gosh.
Tell
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Do you
on that
melt, as they
beautiful
really
child.
say? You melt?
Yeah, it is. It's so, I mean, first of all, it's a new life, right? And what is that? Like, where did they come from? And
Yes.
just the spiritual part of that.
Yes.
And then it's your own child
Yes.
who's having a child.
Mm.
And when I look at how she looks at him,
Wow.
I am bowled over.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And then, just watching the development and then just the warmth and the cuddliness
Oh,
of it all.
oh, I
I'm
love
telling
it.
you.
My favorite moment in life is when my mother was over me as I became a mother. So as you tell that story, as she watched me become a mother and then teach me the little things about how to
Mhm.
hold, how to breastfeed, I can't ever forget that memory.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
it's an amazing time. And then there's just so much love.
Yes.
All the aunties
Yes.
and, the family and just friends. And it's just all this love. And I do think about how fortunate this young man is and is going to be
Yes.
because so much is being poured into him.
Right.
And I know that there's so many children and families where it doesn't happen, it's not possible. And so the blessings are just bountiful.
So he has aunts that are biological, but he's got the aunties of this village.
Oh, yes.
And many villages that you're part of.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, our Jack and Jill sisters.
Yes.
They're like, we're planning a date now for everybody to come over. And they feel that ownership too.
Yes,
They
yes.
feel like this is my child,
That's right.
my grandchild, my nephew.
Exactly.
And it just means so much.
So it really does take a village. It is a village that raises our children and that raised us. So talk to us about when you started coming out here and how did you find the village of Sag Harbor?
Well, my parents came out here, when I was a baby.
Oh, wow.
My father's best friend lived on the beach,
Mhm.
Dr. Redhead.
Yes, yes.
And so
My community, Azurest.
Azurest, the
Mhm.
Gold Coast. we
Yes, of
call
course.
it.
That's right. That's right. As long as you know.
So we would visit him, and then we started renting homes out here, and came every summer.
Mhm.
My mother did eventually purchase in Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
So we
Kind of do both.
Some people say we're bi-coastal.
I love it. I love it. But I love both places, you know?
But then when I was raised in Marisa,
Mhm.
it was just so much easier for me to come out here. So I purchased out here in Sag Harbor.
From the city to here, it's just such an easy drive.
Yeah, and then I grew up in a house, but I raised my daughter in an apartment.
Right.
And so to be able to come out here and have the space and the greenery and the nature, and
Exactly.
thank God she loved it here.
Mhm.
Because I know a lot of young people, they go through a phase where they can't be
Yeah, don't
bothered.
touch- yeah,
they don't have
exactly.
their parents and their
Mhm.
parents' friends. She has loved it all the time, and we would come out here winters and do homework and all of that, and ride
That's great.
horses.
Oh, wow.
And so
And you had a
she's
lot of girls in Sag Harbor Hills, too.
Yes.
That she grew up with.
Exactly.
And Azurest had a lot of boys. And so, I'm a mother of sons. So it was really great. And when they became teenagers,
Yeah.
they were back and forth,
That's
which is
right.
so nice.
That's
It's so
partying
nice.
together,
Yeah.
And now the bonus is that she has purchased a home out here.
Oh my goodness. That's a
Yeah.
big bonus. That's
It
a
is.
capital B.
It is.
That's
It
nice.
is. Yeah.
So is that third or now you have 4 generations who have been part of Sag Harbor.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah, so
what's a
it's very
favorite highlight
special.
for you of growing up out here?
Well, so we had dirt roads.
Oh, you really were part of that
We
too.
had dirt roads.
Oh, wow.
So we walked around barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
We had so much freedom as children.
Yes.
We just, parents opened the door and everybody was looking out for us, and we could go,
Mhm.
just play with our friends. I have to say, my daughter probably got, I think, the last end of that, where
Yeah.
I could open the door and just let her go and ride the bike or whatever.
Exactly.
And then also, there weren't so many houses, so and there weren't so many deer.
Oh, what
So
do you
we
think made
could-
the difference with that?
I'm not sure what happened.
I know, because there were a lot. There were a lot.
But we used to use all the trails, and we could
Oh.
walk barefoot and go from house to house and go through the woods
Okay.
instead of, on
Yes.
the pavement. So that's definitely a highlight.
Sure.
And then as a teenager, we partied. We
Yeah,
hung out.
yeah,
went
we
to the
still
beach.
do. We just
Yeah.
a different generation, but we're still partying.
And that was another thing that was so nice when we'd be on the beach.
Mhm.
The kids would be playing over there.
Right.
The teenagers would be in a circle over there.
Right.
The moms would be in a circle,
Yes,
and then
yes.
the dads would come. And that's a special time, and I don't see that as much right now.
Yeah, that was special. That was
Yeah.
special. You know what, my son, he just made 29. So he
He's
just
a doctor?
no, that's the young one, the
Oh, okay.
entrepreneur.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
okay.
you so much. The doctor is in the last year of residency
Okay.
at Morehouse, and
Oh,
so
lovely.
starting to interview for his next and just supporting him. But the younger one, first of all, a lot of us are passing our deeds to our children
Mhm.
so that we don't wait till we're kind of on our bed and, they say, is she in her right mind?
Hmm.
But when we had our 75th anniversary of Azurest,
Mhm.
he got it, because he was getting ready to start squawking about why do I have to come, and then it was like, no.
Oh, the
This is
myself.
ours. This
Okay.
is ours.
Good.
And so just a whole change of heart, you know,
Good,
in terms
good,
of,
good, good.
ownership and just, closing the gap for Black wealth.
Exactly, because sadly, a lot of people have sold their homes. The children didn't want or were not able to keep them up,
Yes,
and so it sort of changed the like personality, I guess, of the neighborhood.
very much
So
so.
it's great that that your son's going to be out here, my daughter's going to be out
Exactly.
here, and as many as we can keep rooted out here is a good thing.
That next gen. So I always ask this question of my guests. A plus B plus C equals success. What's your A? What's your B plus your C at this stage of your life?
Wow. That's a good question, Sujay. You should have prepared me for that.
No, that's why it's a spontaneous conversation here. Yeah, yeah.
A would definitely be a spiritual component. That is like critically important to me and
Yes.
a major part of my life, personal development, turning within. I
Yes.
feel like, I'm a yoga teacher. I
Yes.
think you know that.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm going to
and-
talk a little more about that too.
Yeah, that's been a part of my life since I was in high school.
Okay.
So it has helped me tremendously, and that's just a must.
Yeah, and you can see your calm too. You can see it, definitely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And then I would say health.
Yes.
Taking care of our health, which is kind of part of the spiritual thing, but health.
Yes.
Health
Yes.
is really a good thing. And then I want to say happiness, and I don't know if that. I'm going to say happiness because
Okay.
that's what comes to my mind.
Yes. Yes.
Because it just makes all the difference in how you perceive the world.
It does.
When you have a bent towards happiness, what works, saying yes.
Yes.
I was telling
And saying yes to yourself.
to yourself,
you
to
know?
your life. And I was telling my daughter the other day, as we talk all the time about how I raised her and how she's going to raise her baby. I tried to say yes to my daughter as much as I possibly could.
That's nice.
And
That's
I know that the tendency to say no and to be scared and
nice.
hold back. And so I tried to say yes to her, and I can see it in her.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, equals your success. And you talked about family too, it being a strong role. It's a spiritual component, but your family, you get together regularly.
We do. And my dad, he was Jamaican, and family was critically important to him.
Yes.
And so we spent a lot of time together. And I actually remember a highlight maybe is we were out at a restaurant one time, and we were laughing and having so much fun. And people came up to us and was like, wow,
Yes.
I've never seen a family like this.
Exactly.
And so that continues. I think my sister and I tend to stay kind of put because we want to be with our family.
Which is so nice. It's so nice. There was a day and evening we were at B. Smith's when she was alive, and there were a group of us laughing, and people came over and they're like, "Why are you so happy?" And we're like, "We're sisters. We're happy." But that same reaction,
Yes, it means so much.
It does. I do a wellness retreat every June. In fact, it's coming up with professional women, and we go and we deal with happiness and self-care and soul care.
Yes.
Kind of tapping within, because these are caregivers who are giving out all the time to their communities, congregations, families. So we're like, say yes to you,
Yes.
and it's so important.
I think you may need a yoga teacher there.
We actually do. For next year, it's always the week after Father's Day. So we really do soul yoga because it's the soul of a woman, and that's so important.
Yeah.
I need a yoga
I don't
teacher.
know how people live without yoga. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It is just so beneficial on so many levels.
And you don't have problems getting in the different positions?
I mean, look, that's not what it's about.
Okay.
It's about where your body takes you. It's about the sensations.
Okay.
It's about, paying attention to yourself and what's going on within. So it's not about being a pretzel.
Okay, I love it.
It's not about that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Where your body takes you, that's a good expression there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. What do you do for fun?
So I love going to good restaurants. I like to cook too.
Okay.
Now I have a new hobby, Sujay. I don't know if I tell you about
What
this.
is this?
I am taking Chicago stepping
No,
dance lessons.
really?
And I am having the best time. I mean, I've always loved dance.
Yes.
But, now, again, at this season, partner dancing.
Yes.
I'm divorced. So it's just nice, having men, that male energy.
Yes.
And music and smiling and movement.
I love it.
And it's a very welcoming community that I found. And there are stepping events and weekends and sets and workshops all over the country.
Are you serious?
So I am actually headed to Detroit in June
For
for
stepping.
my first stepping event.
Oh.
And it's just fun, you know. You look for clothes, the swirl
Yes.
and swing.
Yes.
And I am having the best time with that.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and
That's
it's been
a
a
great-
whole community. We come together, we go for drinks, we find other places to dance.
I'm loving
It's
it.
really fun.
Oh, great, great, great. Do you want to do anything in front of the camera now? You've done the behind, or for everyone else, you've done the production side, the event planning. Would you do in front of the camera?
It's never been my interest, although sometimes I say, why didn't I choose SI? Because I would have gotten paid a lot more.
A whole lot more.
But I really was always about the power that
Mhm.
was coming from behind the camera.
Yes, yes.
And I did do some on-air stuff, you know,
Mhm.
over the days. I mean, I don't have a desire. You
But if it-
invited me here, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this could be fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not opposed to
Okay,
it.
you're
I'm
open
opposed
to
it.
wherever the life takes you. Before it's where your body takes you, but wherever life takes you.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
I was reading this article by this president of the seminary, and you know, he was like, I don't know what my next is, but I know this season is wrapping up. And to have the courage and the strength to be able to say, it's time for me to wrap this up.
Yeah.
What have you had to wrap up in order to go to your next?
I had to wrap up a lot of doubt and a lot of fear.
Talk about that.
Because fear holds you back.
It does.
And fear is a lack of confidence. And so I think in my spiritual work and motivational reading and all of that, I have developed a level of fearlessness.
Nice.
So it allows me to say things that I would be afraid to say before, to do things that, you know, I was antsy about. And it's so freeing.
That is so nice.
It is so freeing. So I think being able to wrap that up.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah, no,
not
that's-
like a thing.
Yeah, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it catapults you into where you need to be.
Yeah. And so it's like feeling comfortable in your skin.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I mean, I wish I had this earlier. I wish everybody could get to this point earlier, but you know, you get there when you get there.
That's exactly it. You arrive when you arrive.
Yeah.
What have you had to say no to in order to be able to say yes?
Certain people, you know, certain energy. I pretty much, Sujay, if I don't want to do it, if it doesn't make me feel good,
Right.
I'm not doing it.
Good for you. Yes,
And
exactly.
you know, for so long it was like I felt compelled, I felt obligated.
Yes,
this
exactly.
is what you should do.
Mhm.
I'm not there anymore. I just do what I want to do.
And people bring in energy. Sometimes you just have to say, maybe they were good for a season of your life,
That's right.
but not any longer.
That's kind of a difficult thing for me too. I think I have friends that I guess the season wraps up and they're no longer in my circle or my world.
Right.
And it's not because I said I don't want to deal with you anymore, but like things just happen.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
that's a little puzzling to me sometimes because like, well, what'd I say? Wasn't my breath. No.
But even with marriage, I mean, it's not always that you grow apart, but you grow differently many times. And you're not in the same place as when you were 20 or 18 years or however many years ago. So it's not, you know, but you move on and you grow.
And I wonder about that. I have a friend who is having a tough time in her marriage. She's religious and she wants to leave. She's sort of being abused, not like physically, but she says her religion won't allow her.
Oh.
And I'm like, really?
She needs a religious therapist then to help her unpack that.
Yeah.
Because abuse of any type is not good. You know, emotional, physical, mental, and people do all of those to people. Yeah.
And she just says, you know, I don't know if it's the Bible, excuse me, I'm not a Bible scholar, but she's like, my religion will not allow me to initiate the divorce.
Wow.
She married a man twice. Okay,
let's move on. But you bring up an interesting thing too about mental health. Sometimes it's tapped into what you believe, but I'm appreciative of a lot of the TV shows now that at the end of it, they give you kind of like, if you're suffering mentally, here's the number, because they have this 988 number now, but they kind of give a little lesson at the end of it because so many people are suffering and felt that they could not speak about it
Right.
before.
We there was such a stigma attached to
Yeah.
it. I've done work in that area. I did a national series for the National Urban League,
Okay.
and we were in several cities looking at mental health in the African American community and
Yes.
just how it affects on all different levels.
So many.
Yeah, and so I think the stigma is clearing up a little bit.
Mhm,
So it's
mhm.
not. There's a lot of celebrities and stuff talking about their mental health now too.
And we're seeing evidence of it in
Yeah.
all the reports we're seeing. But interestingly enough, I just got back from Ghana. We talked about Ghana. And then I went to the National Legacy Museum with Brian Stevenson a week after
Oh,
that in
yes.
Alabama. So we saw where the slaves were pushed out, and then we saw where they were, put in terms of ports. And it just emotionally, I'm still processing, but I think a lot of our people, because we still have that trauma that no one's ever really addressed of 400
Oh, yeah.
years of
Oh, yeah.
enslavement,
Oh yeah.
And then you pass that on and you're snatched
Right.
from this family and whatever.
A lot
It's
of
brutal.
our dynamics in our community come from that.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And the word trauma, I mean, it's almost, like a buzzword now, but it's so important that we're starting to look at that.
Very much so, very much
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I mean, even look, at back in the day, our day, I think, and before, like the way we disciplined children
Yes.
was to spank, beat.
Right. And that came directly from that. Yes.
And that's abuse.
Yes.
And I know our parents and we
Mhm.
hold them in high esteem, but it's abuse.
Right. And it
It's
was threats
trauma.
with it. It was trauma, definitely.
And so I'm just glad that we're looking at that now.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because that's the only way, the darkness can go away. is if
Exactly.
You can see the light. Right?
Exactly. Mhm.
Shine some light on it.
Yes. So now there's a new generation of new mommies out here, actually. And are they coming together? I know Jerry DeVard's daughter, yours. Are they coming together as young adults, do you think? Or
So yeah, Jerry and Raisa, they met when they were 9.
Oh,
and,
okay, okay.
Hannah Bronfman and I think they're in touch. Everybody's kind of in touch on Facebook and
Right.
IG.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I don't know how much they're really getting together out here yet, but I think, the
Yeah.
more they have kids and
Sure.
when they're out here at the same time, that's going to happen.
You never
And then
has their
Brooke moved to LA.
Okay, so she's on the West Coast.
Yeah,
Mhm,
I know she comes back and forth, but my experience is that the people I knew as a child here,
Yes.
even though we may go separate ways and live, in different places, when we come back together, we're still connected.
Exactly.
We're still a community. We're still discovering and feeling that connection. So
Very much so. very much
I
so.
feel certain that their time is gonna come when they
Yes,
come back
exactly.
together.
And
Yeah.
Jerry DeVar was sitting in that chair as a guest on the show as well. So one of
Yeah.
my exciting guests. Even when I was in government doing that, and I was traveling all over the place, I dreamt about the beach in Sag Harbor. When could I be with my Sag Harbor sisters? And even if it was 24 hours that I got off, I was like, let me get to the beach. So,
Mhm.
it's wonderful having a community.
It really is.
Communities, plural, because we have them kind of everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Where did you go to undergrad?
I went to Howard.
Howard undergrad. Okay, that's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
HU, and
HU.
then I went to Syracuse and got my master's in
That's where. Yes,
communications.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I'm a lifelong learner,
Mhm.
so
Which is important. Yeah.
I got a certificate from Columbia Business School. I've been studying Spanish for the last 6 years.
So you're doing stepping, Spanish. All right, I'm loving it.
and expanding my travel business.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So let's talk about your travel business. How do people find you if they need you? Do you have a website?
My website, yes, I do.
Okay.
And it's purplegiraffeproductions.com.
purplegiraffeproductions.com.
Yeah, it's more focused on my event planning business.
Sure,
So I
sure.
haven't updated it to do the travel yet. I do have a Facebook page. It's also Purple Giraffe 30, and
Okay.
IG is the same.
Okay.
And I've taken groups I did a trip to Dakar last year.
Oh wow! Did you go to
And-
Goree Isle as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And it was an arts and culture focused tour.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I look for. I'm not doing just regular tours, and
Sightseeing,
tourism.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
and going to those spots. I'm always seeking out the art, the culture that's relevant to us,
Yes.
the locals. We went to all types of arts exhibits and museums and met artists.
Yes.
And then we also met people who lived there, and we went to a cooking class. And
Oh my goodness. That makes a difference. It really does.
That's the way I like to travel.
Exactly. Eat some
Yeah.
of the food, cook some of the food,
Absolutely.
and interact and engage with the people.
Dance and music.
Yeah.
And visiting someone's home is like, just a real score.
It really, really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was coming out of college, there was a program, Operation Crossroads
I was
Africa.
part of it.
Are you a
That's
Crossroads?
where my first trip to Africa was, to
Mine
Tanzania.
too. Okay, I was a Ghana. And oh my gosh, well, I didn't know you were a Crossroad. Welcome back home.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm actually working on a trip to East Africa. I'm going to go back to Dar.
Okay.
Because I haven't been there. I was in Dar in 84.
Okay.
So I'm going back to Dar, and we're doing some tours and stuff there, and then we're going to go over to Zanzibar, because Dar has changed so much.
Yeah.
It used to be like one of the poorest countries in the world, and now it's developed, and there's a lot going on there.
Yes.
So
Oh,
how
good.
about
Okay.
that?
I think every Black person needs to go and put foot on the continent, and spend some time there. But it's sort of our missing link in our history. So I've claimed Ghana as my homeland. I've been there 4 times. Just really love it there. But I also backpacked through like 8 West African countries. And so, but it made
That
such
was
a
a
difference.
great experience.
It really was.
Oh my
It really
goodness,
was.
completely unforgettable.
Yes.
Stays with me. I think about it all the time. It was one of the best.
So Crossroads Africa is like a precursor to the Peace Corps, actually,
That's right.
where college students and grad students live with the indigenous people in Africa, in a village, actually. And whatever that village needed, we helped build it. So my village needed a school.
We built a school.
Yeah. So we actually poured the cement,
Yes,
we
we
stacked the
did.
blocks.
Stacked them.
And
And as long as they dried by the sun. But if
Yes.
it rained,
it was over.
right, our work was delayed.
Exactly.
It was the best.
But what an experience. And to spend it with other college students, amazing.
And that was the beauty of that program, because part of it, and I remember Reverend Robinson, right?
Yeah,
Remember him?
He was
Who
the
founded
founder of it. But we're almost out of time, so you're going to have to come back and visit
Oh
us
my God,
again.
I would love
But
that. I
thank
would
you for
love it.
joining us. We are so excited to have had Saharon Lopez, Purple Giraffes, and Purple Giraffe Productions, and we're excited to have you. Stay tuned for our next one, Live with Sujay. Take care.